Hello and welcome to Hormones with Sam. Hi, I'm Sambo Patrick, and today I'm going to be focusing on the really common issue of high cortisol. And there's many reasons why it's becoming, unfortunately, more common, not for the betterment of society or individuals. And I tend to focus on women in these talks, but certainly this is one that's affecting men as well. So, what is cortisol? How do you know if you have a high level? Well, cortisol is our hormone that rises when the sun rises. So it starts to go up over the day. It goes up when we feel stressed, under pressure, in survival mode. It plays a massive role with discerning our 24-hour body clock or the diurnal variation. So it works in tandem with another hormone you might have heard of called melatonin. So it goes up during the day, it drops down at night, melatonin kicks in, puts us to sleep, keeps us asleep. Now, there is such a thing as too much cortisol. If we're in overdrive, if we're telling our body it's in the fight or flight response when it's not, we'll produce too much cortisol. And that can happen for various reasons. We might actually be on the front line of war, or we might actually be a mum under the pump and feel like everything is just almost too much to cope with, or a business girl who's trying to impress the boss or just impress the next line manager who's riding them. Who knows what it is, but cortisol is a incredibly powerful hormone. It, aside from our 24-hour body clock and sleep, it also tells the body that you're under attack. Get some insulin ready so you end up with higher circulating levels of insulin, which can lead to belly fat. That's one of the main faux pas of this problem. It also can inflame joints, and part of cortisol's job is to get the liver to make cholesterol. So there are plenty of people walking around who eat reasonably healthy diets who are normal size that have high cholesterol, and the reason being is because they've got high cortisol. So you can see here on this result, they've got very high cortisol. We want it to be around about 24 upon waking. Now, how do women feel when they've got high cortisol? They feel wired. Like they're a little, they might not be jumpy, and you might relate to some of these words that I'm using. You may not, you might have different dialogue for it, but they might say, I'm pressured, I've got stress, or that a lot of women don't say that they're stressed, but they might struggle to relax. Certainly over the years, many women say, I sit down at night and I can't switch off. Broken sleep is a common feature because you go to bed because you're tired, but if you haven't got the melatonin kicking in, you will not have long sustained sleep. Belly fat, I talk about belly fat a lot in my webinars, and belly fat, one of the main reasons is this high circulating level of cortisol, which leads to high insulin. And when you've got high insulin, you've got a very low propensity to switch on lipogenesis, which is fat making. Also leads to blood sugar issues, anxiety, inflamed joints, sore muscles, and habits that are, associated with your way of expressing anxiety. Maybe you chew your nails, maybe you pull your hair, maybe you've got an itchy, scratchy thing going on, but often that'll be your little clue that you've got high cortisol. Now, and a brain that bounces around and can't relax, if I didn't say that before. Okay, so what are some solutions? Food's really important. I mean, your body is already stimulated. Your mind is already stimulated. We don't need to stimulate you anymore. So you don't really need coffee, even though you might be telling yourself you need 16 coffees. Try and pull back on your coffee. Chili, salicylates, those things are actually very stimulating. So is black pepper, so is green tea. You want to make sure that if you do suffer with high cortisol, that you take time out to eat, that you're not eating when your brain is engaged. I call this brain on, gut off. We want you to only eat when your gut is on, and that means that your brain's got to be off and you're focused on your food. Make sure you eat a palm-sized amount of protein with every carbohydrate that you have, and never have carbs on their own if you've got high cortisol. You might want to consider, and I'm a big fan of having a health practitioner in your camp who specializes in this stuff, but you might want to consider pulling back on salicylates or even oxalates. Stress reduction, you cannot go past it in the 2020s. Everyone needs a degree of outlet to cope with what's become a very frenetic and busy life. Now, green light activities are things that you lose your time frame in, you just enjoy them so much that you've forgotten where you are on the planet. Green light activities vary from scrapbooking to photography to exercise to golf to sex, whatever it might be for people. It's when their brain switches off and they're thoroughly present in the moment. That releases an opposite hormone called oxytocin. Now, oxytocin is one of my favorite hormones, and I suggest that you subscribe and like these and leave a review if you like. And I will be talking more about oxytocin in future clips. Depends when you're seeing this one. And if you've got I really recommend you go back and find out what is driving up your cortisol. Is it stress? Are you in a conflict, a conflict in life where you're living in a relationship you don't want to be there, or you're working for someone you don't want to work with? Find that out. And of course, if you can, cut back on what you're doing in your surrounds, and that will help reduce cortisol. And if you really want to go the next level, which I highly encourage, find out what your cortisol levels are doing, because I think the power of knowing where your body's at. A lot of women, when I check their hormones, they're in denial. They just go, I'm just busy at the moment. I go, actually, no, you're not. Your body is drowning. Let's help your body. Let's find out what your hormones are doing. And I love doing the hair test as well. You can order that from www.sambopatrick.com/products/Sam's clients, or you can have a look around my website, see what else I've got going there. As I said, I'd love you to subscribe and share this information with as many people as you can. You never know who we might be able to help. Thanks for now. Bye.